The Red Ball Express: How American Industry Rewrote the Rules of War. August 19, 1944. East Prussia. At the Wehrmacht headquarters, General Oberst Alfred Jodl reviewed the latest intelligence from the collapsing Western Front. The Allied supply lines were stretching over 400 miles from the Normandy beaches to Patton's spearhead. Jodl smiled. The mathematics were ironclad. An armored division consumed 150,000 gallons of fuel daily. The Americans have outrun their logistics. Patton will halt within days, perhaps hours. No army could sustain such speeds without fuel. From his position at Hitler's Wolf's Lair, Jodl analyzed what every German general understood from harsh experience: the tyranny of supply lines. The calculation was inescapable. Patton's Third Army would grind to a halt, giving the Wehrmacht time to regroup at the Seine. What Jodl didn't know was that 125 miles away, 5,958 trucks were already rolling eastward in an endless convoy, headlights blazing in defiance of military doctrine, carrying 12,500 tons of supplies every 24 hours. This was the Red Ball Express, a logistics operation so audacious that German military science had never conceived it possible. Within 72 hours, Patton's supposedly immobilized tanks would crash through German positions at the Seine. Within a week, they would liberate Paris. Within a month, they would stand at the German border. The Wehrmacht's finest military minds were about to receive a devastating lesson in American logistics that would redefine their understanding of modern warfare. And it would be delivered by 23,000 truck drivers, 75% of them African American, who turned a one-way highway into the most efficient military supply line in history. The German General Staff's confidence in American logistical failure stemmed from decades of painful experience. The Wehrmacht had pioneered blitzkrieg, but their own campaigns had repeatedly stalled when logistics failed to keep pace with tactical success. In Russia, their advance foundered not from Soviet resistance initially, but from the simple inability to supply forces across vast distances. German trucks broke down on poor roads. Horse-drawn wagons, still 80% of German military transport, couldn't match the speed of panzer spearheads. German intelligence meticulously tracked American consumption rates. A single Sherman tank burned 0.5 miles per gallon. An infantry division required 700 tons of supplies daily. An armored division needed 1,000 tons. Patton commanded 12 divisions advancing on a 60-mile front. The mathematics seemed irrefutable: 12,000 tons daily, transported 400 miles over damaged roads through a transportation network. The Germans had systematically destroyed. General Major Siegfried Westphal calculated, even if the Americans possessed unlimited trucks, which they don't, and perfect roads, which they don't, and no mechanical failures, which is impossible, they still couldn't sustain Patton's advance more than another 48 hours. Physical laws cannot be violated, not even by American industry. At 2 p.m. on August 25, 1944, Lieutenant Colonel Loren Ayres of the Motor Transport Service faced a room full of skeptical officers. "Gentlemen," Ayres announced, "we're going to create a one-way highway from Cherbourg and the beaches to the front lines. Every vehicle will run 20 hours out of 24. No stopping except for gas and emergencies. We'll move 12,500 tons daily minimum. The Red Ball Express would operate on the principle of absolute priority. No delays, no exceptions. The technical specifications defied German military doctrines to parallel one-way highways. 24-hour operations with headlights blazing, abandoning blackout discipline. A no-stop policy except for fuel and mechanical failure. 5-minute convoy intervals maintaining a 35 miles per hour average speed. Mobile maintenance units every 50 miles. MP checkpoints removing any vehicle dropping below 25 miles per hour. Colonel Charles O. Thrasher reviewed the numbers. We need 140 truck companies, 5,958 vehicles minimum, operating at 90% availability. That's impossible by any logistics textbook ever written. Yet, within 36 hours, the impossible was operational. On August 26th, drivers from the 3,916th Quartermaster Truck Company climbed into their GMCC CKW2.5-ton trucks, nicknamed the Dussenderhalf, loaded with 105mm artillery shells. The demographic composition of the Red Ball Express would have stunned German racial theorists. Of the 23,000 drivers, approximately 75% were African-American soldiers serving in a still-segregated army. These men, who couldn't eat in white restaurants or use white facilities in much of America, were keeping the most celebrated white general's army in motion. They developed their own culture and painted slogans on their trucks. Patton's Blood Bank, Detroit to Berlin Express. By August 28th, German reconnaissance units began reporting something unprecedented. Units from Ofklow Run 116 radioed. Continuous vehicle column, headlights visible for 20 kilometers. No spacing, no blackout discipline. Estimate 1,000 vehicles per hour. Americans have abandoned all military precaution. This violated everything German doctrine taught. General Lieutenant Edgar Feutinger, commanding the 21st Panzer Division, personally observed the Red Ball Express. The enemy operates a supply system beyond our comprehension. Vehicles pass at 30-second intervals, day and night, without pause. It's not military science. It's mass production applied to warfare. What the Germans couldn't understand was that American logistics operated on entirely different principles. Where German doctrine emphasized concealment, Americans relied on volume. Where Germans conserved vehicles, Americans assumed 20% mechanical failure and planned accordingly. The Red Ball Express's first week saw 89,939 tons of supplies delivered, a daily average of 12,848 tons. German logistics specialists captured these numbers and dismissed them as propaganda. The Red Ball Express generated innovations hourly. When trucks broke down, approximately 1,800 daily mobile maintenance units performed repairs roadside. Mechanics developed a triage system, 15 minutes to fix it or push it off the road. Engines were swapped in 45 minutes using mobile cranes. They built bypasses around destroyed bridges using rubble from bombed buildings as roadbed. The Germans, observing this chaos that somehow produced order, couldn't comprehend it. German logistics doctrine emphasized careful planning and strict procedures. The Americans violated every principle, yet their system accelerated rather than collapsed. The most stunning revelation for German observers was American fuel management. The Red Ball Express consumed 300,000 gallons of gasoline daily just for its own operations. Yet fuel never ran short. The Americans had created a parallel marvel, Operation Pluto pipelines under the ocean, laying fuel pipelines across the English Channel completely undetected. Forward fuel dumps were established every 25 miles along the route. General Major Walter Warlimont observed from aerial reconnaissance, "The Americans have fuel dumps larger than our entire strategic reserves. They burn more gasoline, moving gasoline, than we allocate to entire panzer divisions. This isn't war as we understand it. It's industrial overflow." The Red Ball Express multiplied Patton's speed exponentially. German doctrine calculated that an armored division could sustain a 20 to 30 mile advance daily. Patton's divisions averaged 40 to 60 miles daily for weeks. On September 1st, the 4th Armored Division advanced 67 miles in a single day, shattering German defensive planning. General Oberst Heinz Guderian, father of German armored warfare, initially refused to believe the reports. No armored force can advance 60 miles daily for a week. Mechanical failures alone prevent it. By September 5th, German intelligence had compiled comprehensive reports. The implications were catastrophic. Field Marshal Walter Model's response revealed growing desperation. "If these reports are accurate, we face not a superior army, but a superior civilization. They make no effort to hide because they don't fear us. They waste resources because they have infinite resources. We cannot defeat this with military tactics." The drivers paid a physical price German observers couldn't see. Drivers operated for 72 straight hours, hallucinating from exhaustion and benzene. Accidents killed 300 drivers. Yet morale remained extraordinarily high. These men, mostly African American, understood they were making history, proving Hitler's racial theories wrong with every mile driven. The sound of the American trucks, the endless motors, the endless supplies became psychological warfare. The vehicles themselves amazed German engineers. The GMCC CKW 2.5-ton truck, the backbone of the Express, represented mass production perfection. General Motors produced over 500,000 of these vehicles, more trucks than the entire German military possessed of all types combined. They featured all-wheel drive, automatic tire inflation, and engines that ran on low-quality fuel. More stunning was the American maintenance philosophy, where Germans rebuilt engines, Americans replaced them. Where Germans rationed parts, Americans discarded entire vehicles for minor problems. They achieved logistics faster than consumption. The predominance of African American drivers created cognitive dissonance for German racial theorists. Nazi ideology declared blacks inferior, incapable of technical tasks. Yet, these drivers were performing logistics miracles that German forces couldn't match. This success created pressure for integration that contributed directly to the military's desegregation just a few years later. The African American soldiers knew what the Nazis thought of them, and that made them drive even harder. The Red Ball was their combat, and they won it decisively. The final Red Ball Express statistics defied every German calculation of logistical possibility. 82 days of operation, 412,193 tons of supplies delivered, 222 million ton miles, 40,000 tons of ammunition delivered to Patton alone. Reviewing these figures in captivity, General Franz Halder, former chief of the German General Staff, wrote, The Red Ball Express proved logistics determines strategy, not vice versa. Americans understood this. We learned it too late. The Red Ball Express cost the United States approximately $100 million in 1944. Yet, the operation enabled the capture of 400,000 German soldiers, the liberation of France, and shortened the war by an estimated 6 months. Each day of war cost America $250 million. The Red Ball Express paid for itself in a single day of shortened conflict. In May 1945, General der Infanterie Friedrich Schulz summarized, "The Red Ball Express represents warfare we never imagined." Americans created a temporary civilization. We built permanent infrastructure over years. They created superior temporary systems in days. The Red Ball Express was not a supply line, but a flowing river of material that drowned the German forces. Call to action. The Red Ball Express not only won the war, but fundamentally changed the way we move goods today. If you found the sheer scale of this logistics miracle stunning, hit the like button and subscribe. And let me know in the comments, what single American innovation do you think was the most underestimated weapon of World War II?